kind of confused on it because I thought that anything that students did, like their student fees and how things were allocated or whatever, went through SGA. And that I'm hearing that there's other groups that are kind of splitting off, and then it's not going through SGA. One of the concerns I have is if we don't have that collaboration of where it funnels down to one group, that of the students themselves, that all the students can bring their groups together to SGA. For us as community members or other people that are trying to work with the students and want to work with the students, it helps to have one group that it funnels down to so that we know who to go to, because otherwise you have all these different groups among the campus itself. And so I'm hoping that SGAs can still remain the focal point of bringing that all together with students so that we can work with students also. Because I think they are a great group and they have a lot of, it's a lot of opportunity for all of us, businesses, whatever, to bring some things into the students themselves directly. And I'd like to see that happen. I'm just wondering when is this referendum coming due? Or?
It's already in progress.
It is, okay.
It started today, perhaps. I'm not sure when it started. And it goes through Wednesday.
Okay.
And these are, what you're talking about, are students' decisions to be made by students. And so that's what they're doing. And it's a great learning opportunity for students to be engaged in the governance process, to be engaged in organizational change, to be engaged, frankly, in conflict resolution. So it's a kind of learning that you don't get in the classroom. So not only are they helping decide how to organize, but it in itself is part of the education.
There are no state dollars that are in the residence halls. The same is true with the University Center. And all the students do pay a segregated fee to the campus if they are here in the general vicinity of the campus, and a part of that fee does go to support the operation of the University Center, the student union. Is that cleared up? But none of the tuition dollars are used to pay for buildings or for capital construction.
So the last question I asked was about, do we have any input as to the students have, I think that's what the referendum's about, isn't it, about whether they have the right to have the input on where those dollars go?
Oh, yes.
And so why did they need the referendum if they've had that in the past?
They're looking at options of how they want to have that input. It's always been a student process that's been involved with how those decisions are made. And they're looking at an alternative to the process that was used in the past, where there were separate groups that decided how the allocations would be made for the University Center operation or for the Student Health Service, for example, and how the rest of the student fees go to support clubs and activities and recreational activities and all those sorts of things.
Well, I appreciate your answer. One of the main reasons I brought up as the father in this particular case is when she was here for 5 years, I never heard a word at all about part of her tuition going for this, part of her segregated fees, which she still had to pay. So maybe we didn't look into it right, but there was just no upfront, real quick, go to orientation, hey, 10%, let's just say, goes for this. There was none of that. There's no openness and knowledge stated about that. And when they did Dreyfus, I didn't get a clear idea that the students' monies were being used to pay for that. So I guess maybe in communicating with the community, let's include the people who pay the tuition and other bills here as a community, and be very upfront about where these things are, how these things are being done. I'd appreciate that. All my kids are graduating, I'm graduating, so I don't have that problem. But I can foresee that being an issue as college gets more and more expensive and
Yes.
becomes a consumer issue.
The students are engaged in these processes extensively on this campus and across the state. Now, it's quite possible that word's not getting home and not getting to the parents, and they may not be informed as they should be about how that works. But I'm sure there's a lot of conversation on campus among the students about this, and that's one of the reasons they're having that referendum right now.
Will you honor the referendum?
I'm not gonna comment on the outcome of the referendum because it's in progress, so I don't want to say anything that might influence the outcome
What
anymore.
was the question? I didn't hear the question.
Wondering if the referendum is pointless if administration is going to ignore the decision of the students, as has happened in the past.
You know, we're not gonna ignore the students, nor have we ever ignored the students, and we certainly aren't going to start today. Other questions?
Is 4th Avenue ever going to be open? Is that our goal to shut it down?
I couldn't hear you.
Is 4th Avenue ever going to close down?
Not that I'm aware of.
We have no plans to close down 4th Avenue.
You're gonna make it bigger, aren't you?
No, we're gonna do a landscaping along the sides of it and put hopefully a bulb